This is the Honda CB1000 Hornet SP, a street bike with the heart of a Fireblade. It's civilized on the outside, savage underneath, affordable, rideable, and just waiting to misbehave. So let's break it down. This thing has a 1000cc engine. That's bigger than your mum's Fiat 500. And it comes straight from a 2017 Honda Fireblade. You know, Honda's mad track-focused superbike. But where the Fireblade made damn near 190 horsepower, this version of the engine behaves a little differently. Here, it makes 155 horsepower, but on 212 kilograms of naked bike, that's quite a lot.
The Hornet SP might look like a commuter bike to the untrained eye, but it's a brawler with a short wheelbase and attitude for days. Built to scrap with the likes of the Yamaha MT-10 and Suzuki GSX S1000.
Sounds like a nice little recipe, doesn't it? In fact, this bike is massively anticipated by people who know their stuff. Question is though, is it any good?
To discover that, we need to drill down into the engine, which many bike fans will already be familiar with. This is effectively the motor from the old Blade, but with a lower emissions-friendly compression ratio. They've also given it new camshafts and different valve timing in order to make the performance slightly more accessible without revving the pants off the bike as you would on a racetrack, or at least that's the theory.
I've never actually ridden a Fireblade before. I know, I'm a noob, but I do know that the Blade had savage performance. Problem is though, this doesn't feel that fast. When you twist the throttle, it doesn't even actually feel like a litre bike. You twist and you twist and not a lot happens, but there is a solution for that. You just twist a little bit more. There it is. That's the Fireblade spirit. You get it up to anywhere over 8,000 RPM and it becomes a different bike. Keep it lit all the way up to 14,000 RPM and you feel the full force of that engine. Yes, now it feels like a litre bike. Goodness me. The sound is great too, isn't it? It sounds like a race bike. That is addictive. Suddenly, this makes sense. Right. Quick bit of background for all my car boys and car girls out there who don't know what they're looking at. Don't worry, you're not alone. This is what they call a super naked. And they call it that because it's so attractive that that's what people will become when they see you riding it. Super naked. It hasn't actually worked for me yet. I'm starting to think there's something wrong with this one. Also, in this lovely black and gold color scheme, does it remind you of the old 1980s Formula One cars from Lotus, the John Player Specials? And I know it's called a Hornet, but doesn't it look like an actual Hornet as well? Hornets are what? Black and yellow, just like this thing. And look at the headlights just here. That looks like the head of a real wasp with the bug eyes. And check out these adjustable Showa forks down here, finished in gold. That looks like the antenna. And I hate to bang on about this whole anthropomorphic thing for too long, but what is the shape of a wasp? It's big around the chest, narrow around the waist, and pointy in the tail. This thing couldn't look more like a murder wasp if it tried.
It's not all good news though. There are some bits of the SP1000 that are not so attractive.
This exhaust. I'm not sure it has an official name in bike circles, but I like to call it minging. There's a lot of really attractive bike exhausts out there, but this thing just looks like a bit like a trash can. Also, look at this welding. That's not great, is it? It does have a very clever feature though. Inside, about sort of here-ish, there is a valve which remains closed in all the gears until you get up to around 5,700 RPM, at which point it opens up, allows the engine to breathe more freely and allows the bike to make more power. A bit like VTEC.
There are actually two versions of this bike, the standard CB1000 Hornet and the Hornet SP. Both have the same 1000cc engine, but the SP puts out an extra 5 horsepower, taking it from 150 to 155. You also get a quick shifter as standard, so you can change gear without using the clutch. And there's a suspension upgrade, Öhlins TTX36 ProLink rear shocks that automatically adjust for preload, compression and rebound. You also get upgraded brakes, Brembo Stylimmer 4-piston calipers gripping twin 310mm front discs. Oh, and the SP gets those beautiful gold wheels. Both versions have dual headlamps with LED technology, that gorgeous radiator cover at the front, a TFT display with easy to understand graphics, a spacious seat, wide bars, and that extra minging exhaust.
How does it feel outside of the engine? Alright, the first thing is that it's quite narrow in the middle, so reasonably comfortable. The seat itself though is a little bit on the firm side. I prefer it to be a bit softer, to be honest, but I do like the riding position. As ever, because it's a naked, you are exposed to the elements, so you kind of have to hold on for dear life in windy weather or when you're riding fast. There's also no cruise control, which I find a bit annoying. You don't even get the option of cruise control really, and that's a shame because the throttle does feel a bit spiky. It's hard to be super smooth with it, especially from a closed position.
There are 3 rider modes: normal, rain, and sport. Normal is quite neutral. Rain makes the throttle a bit less responsive to minimize the chances of dealing up too much power and skidding, and then sport makes it very responsive, at which point that throttle spikiness is exacerbated. But then that's the mode where the bike feels most fun.
Anyway, the suspension. Actually quite firm, these Öhlins. I wouldn't say it's a deal breaker, but with the seat not being the most comfortable, as well as it being quite exposed to the wind and the rest of the elements, it's not the most relaxing ride.
But that's offset against the fact that the CB1000 SP is fun. It feels really alive. Partly because of the power, partly because of the sound, and partly because of that slightly naughty feeling of having to keep the motor spinning so fast to get the most from it.
Bleeding heck, that is quick. I quite like the gearbox as well. The quick shifter is alright, you know. It works well most of the time. Maybe slightly hesitant sometimes, but good for the most part.
And here's something I quite enjoy. You can customize everything to your taste. The power delivery, the ABS, the engine braking. So the bike slows either more or less aggressively when you release the throttle. Very cool.
There's a slightly old school fun factor to this bike. I like that. This isn't one of those bikes with the very latest technology. It doesn't have an IMU, an inertial measuring unit. That's the sensor, by the way, that senses real-time acceleration and rotation information and sends it to the ECU to help with various safety systems. So definitely quite old school in that regard. You don't get the most seamless interventions to keep the bike from doing wheelies or skids, and there's no cornering ABS. But come on, look at the price. And more to the point, it just feels fun. Straight line or in a corner. Look, it holds its line so nicely and just puts a massive smile on your face. Come on.
And that's the big thing about the CB1000 SP. It's a laugh and great bang for your buck. It isn't the wildest, most intimidating bike, nor is it the fastest, but it's damn enjoyable. It's simple, honest fun that's docile when you want it to be, but a demon the next.